Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and this is the Holly Press Fibers Knitting Podcast. Thank you for joining the Holly Press Fibers Knitting Podcast. I'm coming to you from Northwest Montana, and it is June 14th and a balmy 44 degrees Fahrenheit, which would be less than 10 Celsius, I think. So yeah, another rainy day. Definitely seasonably cooler than what we normally have. According to Lewis the weatherman, we will be having summer by the end of the week. We should be up to the low 80s. That'll be the first time we touch the 80s this year, so that'll be exciting. If you've watched my other podcasts, you know I usually get a rain alert during this podcast. I actually remembered to silence all alerts. I don't really need weather alerts. I can look outside, but I've never gotten around to turning them off. But until the weather warms up, I'm more than happy to be wearing my woolens. I've got a finished object on today. This is the first time I've worn it. I actually held off wearing it so it would look super nice for the first time. And this is the In Stillness by Alicia Plummer. And she actually has several In Stillness patterns. This is the original. It's the In Stillness. That's the whole name. So she has an In Stillness Cardi, an In Stillness Little for kids, and In Stillness Drop, which instead of having the raglan, it's got the drop shoulder. So if you're interested in her pattern, or this one in particular, this is the In Stillness. And she put out a revision a year ago, maybe more than a year ago, I'm not quite sure, to make it more size inclusive. So now it goes up to 65 inches. I think it was 65, somewhere close to 65. So she definitely increased her pattern range there. It is knit on size 6 for your ribbon cuff and all that stuff, and then 7 for the body of it. And it's a top down. You start working flat in the round, you start working flat and then join it in the round. So it's just a tiny bit. Try not to knock over my chair to show you. So you might still see some little ends hanging out. I have woven everything in, but I cut them off after the first wearing just so they get tugged into hopefully what will be their final location. So I still have those to take care of, but other than that, this sweater is complete. And it's just a A-line, and I made the sleeves extra long. I think that's the only modification I did, because I like to cover my wrists all the way. Her pattern is written for -1 to +2 ease. And I did the second size up, which is a 32¼ inch. I'm gonna look that up, just a second. I knew that didn't sound right. 33¼ inch. It's the second size, 33¼ inch, and that's the finished measurement. Yeah. So I did the 33¼ So basically I was going for no ease. That would be my size, and that would have been 950 yards of DK weight. Yeah. So I did this in Holly Press Fibers in the Demelza colorway for the DK, and just like my other In Stillness, I love it. It fits perfectly. It's nice and warm. It's just the right gauge to keep the warmth, but still have nice drape to it. It doesn't feel stiff. So I'm definitely going to be enjoying this one. And I will move on to my works in progress. The main thing I've been working on is the socks for my daughter. So if you're watching, you'll need to look away for a minute. So she actually knows about these socks. She just doesn't know what they look like. She knows the yarn. So I don't know what the lighting is going to do for this. Like I said, it is raining and it is dark. I tried setting up all sorts of different variations of lights and none of it worked. It sort of looked like my second podcast where I set up lights and I ended up looking like I had completely like white or super blonde hair. Sorry, I'm digging around for my yarn label here. Yeah, so I tried all sorts of lighting and everything was just going back to that white on top, way brown, the reverse balayage. My hairstylist would have been disappointed in my second episode because I came straight from the hairstylist for that one. So I'm very far away from the camera today in hopes to capture the light from the window. It says it's ITW, which is Into the World. And if you cannot see this, I will insert a picture of it. It is Heirloom Ornamental. And here is what it is knitting up like. If the lighting isn't doing it justice, I will take pictures and put it in. It's just a beautiful variation of like deep bluish purples and rust, which are knitting up gorgeous. And I have a stitch marker on here from 3 by the Sea. I started these close to, I will get it turned around, close to the Queen's Jubilee. And so I thought that would be fun. My daughter and I both love England, and we've traveled there a couple times as a family. This, I think I said the stitch marker is 3 by the Sea. I got it as a set of all London and England themed, so it had Big Ben, a teapot, a flag, a few others. Super cute. One of their iconic red phone booths held them all together because they always give you a big clasp to hold all of your other stitch markers, progress keepers together. So I'm working on this. This is sock number 2. I think I have sock number 1 here. I do. So I finished this one and I'm just now to starting the heel flap, and I tangled it in with another one. I couldn't have done a better job if I tried. Okay, so yeah, that's her sock. I am hoping to get these done soon. She's going to be out here in early July, and these are her end of semester socks. If you watched my last episode, you know I make my kids socks at the end of each semester, and these would be late because her semester ended a month ago and I didn't start them until well after it was done, but that's okay. She'll be happy to have them. And the other one I've been doing a little bit on, not much, is my Emma sock. So this is month 2, sock number 1 of the Emma colorway. And this one has a stitch marker from the Shepherd's Hook. And she is on Instagram as the Shepherd's _hook. She's also on eBay is where she sells her progress keepers. She does beaded progress keepers and the little polymer progress keepers. So she has some very cute original designs. I have a little fox from her. I have a killer whale from her. So yeah, this hasn't gotten a ton of love but it will be getting more once I have my daughter's socks all the way complete. I'm also working on my son's blanket, of course. I think I've talked about that every episode. I'll pop in a picture. It's getting too large to like try to hold up, but I will maybe lay it out on a bed and show it off that way. I am still working on all of the orange squares, so I started off one corner of the blanket is all greens, and now I'm morphing it into all of the oranges. I'm trying to do one square every 3 days. So if I stick to that plan, I have until the end of July that I'm still doing orange squares. But then I will be switching over to purple, and that'll be for the finishing corner. So it's like this corner is all green, this is all orange, and then this will be purple. So actually, I have a little chart I can show you of what that looks like. Doot, doot, doot. Yay, it's right there. Yeah. So, it is coming along nicely and slowly. We're thinking maybe December, November. Depends on if I put an edging on it. That's going to be what takes the longest, I think. So that's what I've been working on, and now I have to find my notes again. Oh, I didn't say, I'm a little bit all over the place this morning, guys. I'm sorry. This is, I said it's the Emma colorway. It's month 2. It's called More Wonderful Things, and I will have it in the store eventually. It won't be right away because that's part of the club, is they get that exclusive access for a couple months before it goes into the store. But the month 1 is one that I finished one sock, and I won't talk about it much. I've talked about it quite a bit already. This is the Strawberry Basket sock, and DanaRaeMakes is actually running a sale on her patterns, and I think it lasts through tomorrow. I'm hoping to get this podcast up today, so if you happen to watch it the very second it comes out, she's got 50% off going on her patterns, and I'm going to be starting the second sock on that one next month. So I guess I've already started in on all of my whips since I talked about the Strawberry Basket socks. I call them my green room knitting. I talked about that in the last episode. It's anything that I'm not currently working on. So Strawberry Baskets is in the green room. It's waiting for its moment in the spotlight. Another one that's waiting for its moment in the spotlight is my Elvish singing socks. I have the heel flap done, and I'm working on the gusset. I told myself I'm going to work on them for any waiting room knitting, or like when we go run our errands. It got 0 attention in the last 3 weeks because I brought my daughter's sock with when I went to the dentist. I actually got it cast on and joined in the round, and then I did about 1.5 inches while I was waiting. So yeah, didn't get anything done, but we also didn't go anywhere that required driving, so that's where I get a lot of my sock knitting done, when it's just that straight vanilla sock. Other things that are in the green room would be this. This is in my Matter Root bag, and it is my Wee Field Mouse socks, and it's actually just all of the supplies for it. So I'm going to be starting my Wee Field Mouse sock number 2 after, bring that closer, after I finish my daughter's sock. So I have my daughter's sock plus 4 more socks, and I'm having a really hard time not casting on all the other things, because Anna Knitter, who has a podcast, it's called Anna Knitter, and she's doing the Helgen sock knit along. She has a pattern that she released, and I want to knit that pattern, but I don't have any more sock needles, which is a good thing because I don't want more socks on the needles. So I'll get these wrapped up. Then I'll look at whether I'm going to do the Helgen socks right away or if that'll be down the line. She is also on Instagram as Annalena Knitter. So she's a German podcaster. And the other things that I want to be knitting on, well, DanaRaeMakes, she's doing her Christmas in July that started just this week, I guess technically a couple days ago. So that'll be going for a while. I want to cast on some Christmas stuff, but I've got way too much going. I think I got a little too enthusiastic with my cast-ons for a hot second there. So I'm going to dial it back, finish what I'm working on, and what I haven't started yet that I have planned. Oh goodness. The other person, or persons I should say, that I'm trying so hard not to be enabled, you guys. So Ruth Loves to Knit, her podcast, along with Little Monkeys and Me, they're doing the Across the Pond Shawl Knit Along that's going to be starting, I think it starts in July. Look at my notes. Did I write that down? I didn't. I think it starts in July. I would have to race through some serious amount of knitting to justify getting a shawl on the needles. But I want to. I'll be a good girl. I hope. Not do it. So other than my current whips, the things I'm actually working on, and my green room knitting, I've got plans for starting another cardie. So this I wanted to finish before I started the cardie. I had no desire to finish this right away. I figured that's a winter knit. I don't need it anytime soon. And I put it away when I started on my son's blanket, even though it was October, November then. Nonsensical, but I did, and I was like, no, I want to work on his blanket. And then when I determining what was going to be next, I put this aside. But then the weather has been so not spring that I decided I wanted to get this off the needles, start wearing it, and I get to wear it. Even though it's the middle of June, I get to at least wear it. But I wanted it off the needles for the next project, which is another Alicia Plummer pattern. And excuse the little crinkling here. This came in the mail. I'll just grab a couple of the skeins. So I ordered this for the Getaway cardie. I think it's just called The Getaway, and it's by Alicia Plummer. It is a bottom-up cardigan that you work flat all the way up, and you do a 3 needle bind off to join the shoulders. Then it's got a drop shoulder construction with a big shawl collar. It is designed for 5 to 10 inches of positive ease, so it's going to be one of those cardies that you can actually wrap around. It doesn't have like just the open front. You can wrap it around you. I don't think there's a belt that goes with it, but that's fine. As long as I can tuck it around me, I'll be plenty happy. It's got a textured design on it, and oh, I'll be doing the second size. So I find that I usually fit in her second size with the ease that she recommends. I think I lean towards her patterns because she's the same size as me, so when she models something, I know what it's going to look like on me. So I'm going to be knitting the 41 inch, which will give me, wow, I'm not mathing today, 8 inches of positive ease. Yeah, 8 inches. Goodness. So the yarn that I chose, her pattern calls for Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, which is a woolen spun, and I've never worked with a woolen spun. I was excited to try that. I went on Brooklyn Tweed's website, looked at what colors they had to offer. I went and looked at yarnsub.com and looked at what would be good options for Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, and it said Barrett Wool Company. So I went to their website, and that was also a woolen spun. I want to say it was called their Wisconsin woolen worsted weight, something very similar to that. And really liked what they had to offer. The colors that I was interested in were all sold out, and I'd never been on their website before, so I don't know how often they restock colors, or if it's like, hey, we're not bringing out any new colors till the next season. So I just decided to keep looking, and I found this, which is made by a company in France, which is, I'm not even going to try to do a French pronunciation. It is DanaRaeMakes, and this is the Gilead base. It's a woolen spun worsted weight yarn, and I love the color. This is exactly what I was hoping for. This was like the guiding choice for which company I chose. Was I wanted a color that was just this caramel. It's called caramel. I don't know if I said that already. This, you know, very brown, warm color that was just ticking all the boxes for me. So I didn't try a French pronunciation because I am horrible at pronouncing words. I can barely English. Which is sad that I don't speak French. My mom was a French and Spanish teacher, and I have no language capacity. I've been told it skips generations, and it definitely leapfrogged over me. So, but I can kind of piece together what I think things say. So I'll tell you what the label says. It's a fabric that is made, that is from the soft, bouncy merino sheep of the area, and it's raised in the, I think it's saying respectful tradition. It's got the color of that's associated with the sheep from a specific region of Portugal, and it's dyed in France. So again, that's the colorway. Yeah, my mom is one of those like multilingual people. She speaks 3 languages fluently, knows 2 other languages enough to, you know, go travel and get around and ask questions. I took 3 years of French, and I was able to ask the man in the grocery store, where do I find the gluten-free section? And that's because I asked my mom before we went on the trip, how do I say this? At least I can read, sort of. I think the deal was I could never figure out the grammar, because things are swapped in an order that my brain was not willing to retain, and conjugating verbs, I don't get them right. I'm not good with Romance languages. I have tried to learn some German. I think I'm better at it, but I won't prove myself wrong and try to say anything. Let's see, so yeah, the Getaway Cardi, I have not cast it on yet. It will be my next cast on, even though I have 4 socks on the go. And I have the Trelawney top going. That's another one that's just in the green room. I have, I think, 3 rounds until I'm done with the color work. But I put it aside because it's really hard to get motivated for a light sleeve tee when you are all bundled up in 40-degree weather. At least for me. So that's also waiting. I've got so many cast-ons that I should not be looking at any of these make-alongs, and I will try very hard not to cast on other things. I did want to give a quick little go-through of what has just come off of my blocking mats. So these are not new projects coming off of the blocking mat. This is just the things that I have cleaned from the winter season, getting ready to put away for the summer, although this one in particular I will wear during the summer. It is very lightweight. I will insert a picture because I know that the lighting will not do it justice at all. I did a very loose block. I didn't use any pins. Usually when I block this each season, I will pin it out, but I wanted to see what it would look like without any pinning, and it really did actually hold most of its shape. So I'm pleased with that. It is made out of Dream in Color, the Jilly Merino, which is a fingering weight. Yes, in the Dive colorway. So I made this back in 2015. I made it as a knit along that was based on how many yards you knit for the month. So it was like the first month you would knit, I think it was 1 skein worth. It was, I think it went 400, 800, 1,000. So over the summer months you were doing a project each month. This was the first month, I think. Yes, I finished it in June, so this would have been the first month. That was the Semele, S-E-M-E-L-E, and it's by Asa Tricosa. Yeah, no pronunciation skills. The other item that is fresh off the blocking mat is my most worn item. I made this last year, I believe, and I think I wore this almost every single day, either when I was working in the dye studio, which is actually where we are now. You can probably see behind this a little bit of my dye studio. I don't know if the lighting will let you peek through to it, but I would wear this down here because it's chilly, and or I'd wear it just when we were out walking the dogs, whatever. It is called the Mountain View, and it's by Lindsay. Oh, Lindsay, I'm gonna not say your last name right because, again, pronunciation. Luchuk? She is Eco Chic Knits, and she's on Instagram as Eco Chic Knits. This was the Mountain View cowl, and it is from her Rise Up collection. She released it last January, and I made it out of, I think this is my Lothlorien colorway. I stopped posting on Ravelry 2 years ago, and I did a very poor job of taking notes in the meantime, so I'm trying to be much better to remember what I did. I'm thinking I'm gonna start a Instagram account that I just put down my projects, whether they're in progress or they're finished, and I'll put all the details on there, so at least I have a record of it. I kind of waver on that because I don't want my notebook to be on a platform that could just go away. I don't know. I had one instance where I was storing all of my photos on an app that was like a scrapbook app, and they got rid of it along with all of the work I'd put in. So I'm a little bit leery to say that I'll put my projects on Instagram, but maybe if I just put the notes on there and keep them somewhere else, that'd be a good idea. Yeah. I do like the idea of having a separate account just for knitting. I think a lot of people are reluctant to post their works in progress and their finished objects on their regular Instagram or Facebook, but in particular Instagram, because they're like, well, most of my friends could care less what I'm knitting on. But you can create a secondary account that you can put all of that on, and then keep your friends and family, you know, separate, so you have a place to post and connect with the knitting community. So I'm thinking that might be what I do. Yeah. Okay, so other things for a quick little shop news. All of the Christmas in July have been shipped. Emma is going out tomorrow. That'll be month 3, so that'll finish out that club. The Nutkin's Riddle, which is the second month, second book of Beatrix Potter, went out today. And I will be releasing soon-ish the third book, which is The Tale of Gloucester. And this is, what does it say in here? Her third book was originally published there we go, 1903. So I think that means she published this one the same year as The Tale of Nutkin's Squirrel. And this will be the third colorway that I release, and I'll be putting that up for sale. I said that I would be doing these like shipping on the 15th and then listing the new month on the 16th. I'm hoping I can keep with that cycle, but I'm not positive, at least not for this month. I'm going to be going into the dentist because I have a cracked tooth. So hopefully I can still get this dyed up this week, depending on what happens with the tooth. So I will just show a couple flip throughs here. Again, lighting. But there are lots of like deep rose colors, stormy ocean type colors, and of course grays. And I'm going to be putting in just after this on the video a little clip that shows you how I create my little reel, and I guess not the reel, the little picture that goes with the announcement for the colorway, because I don't show you the actual skein. This is a mystery, but I know some people are not really big into mystery yarn. Some people love it, adore it, others want to see the yarn. So I wanted to give you a little insight onto how closely the Instagram post and the listing on my website represent the color. So I will insert a little clip here showing how I make that. I think it's interesting. I use Procreate to make it on my iPad, so I will use the first month, which is no longer a mystery to anybody who ordered it. I didn't want to do any spoilers. So that first one is Mr. McGregor's Garden, and it's the Tale of Peter Rabbit colorway. So I'll insert that, and I just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in yet again for episode 4. I have enjoyed being able to talk with some of you guys, whether it's through Instagram or here on YouTube, and just being part of the knitting community. It's such a growing community. Every time I get on YouTube, I'm seeing more and more people that have either started a channel or that more people seem to be interacting in the comments, which I think is cool. Seeing everybody interact on the various platforms is always lots of fun, and it helps me feel more connected to everybody. I will be entering my blanket for my son in the podcast by Mega, which is Skeins of Dreams. She's doing a knit along for Blankets of Dreams Make Along, and that's her hashtag for it. So she's running that all year, and I'm gonna just put my progress up on there. So I'll have it posted here, but I'll also show it on Instagram. The other make-alongs, of course, are Kay's Summer Sock Camp, and none of my socks are going to qualify yet. All 4 of these I started before her make-along, so I need to get some of these off the needle so I'll have something to enter in her make-along. She did the clear 'em for camp, and I was like, ain't gonna happen. Just ain't gonna happen. So, but I am actually doing one of her patterns, so that would be the morning coffee sock. Excuse me, I told you I couldn't English. Morning coffee socks, so maybe I will get something entered in her make-along. And like I said earlier, the Anna Knitter is doing the Helgen sock make-along, And if you're just looking for something that's more open, the Across the Pond make-along is going to be starting up in July, and that's a shawl make-along. So any type of shawl or wrap. I think their only requirement is not a scarf. Yeah. Ruth does a whole podcast talking about her various scarves to give, not scarves, wraps and shawls to give you lots of ideas. So I think that's all of the, nope, it's not. There's one more. DanaRaeMakes. I mentioned her earlier. She's got her Christmas in July make-along. So there's lots out there right now that I want to be participating in. I hope that you'll participate in and that we can all connect that way. If you have remotely enjoyed what I've been saying today and you want to follow along, I would love it if you would like and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again in a couple weeks. Thanks for joining in. Bye. Hi everyone, I wanted to show you how I create the images that I put on Instagram for when I have a Beatrix Potter release. So the colorways are going along with the Beatrix Potter series, and they are a mystery. I don't put the actual skein up, but I give you an idea of the colors, and I wanted to show you how I do this so it helps you know what you're getting. And it's sort of that happy in-between of whether you like an all-out mystery or you don't like a mystery at all. This is that happy spot of you're getting to know the colors, but not the actual skein. So I'm in Procreate right now, and I dropped in a picture, and I made it fill up the size of the square. I chose the square size because that's easy for Instagram. Now that I have that picture in there, I'm just going to come up here to my smudge tool, and I have it set on watercolor. And now I'm just going to start smudging back and forth. So the colors are going to come out, but the skein is going to go away. And it sort of gives you an artistic impression of what might be coming your way. This colorway was the Mr. McGregor's Garden. So it was the first of the Beatrix Potter books in her Peter Rabbit series. And there's 23 books. I'm planning on doing all of them. And the pre-order for this one opened back in April, and then it just shipped out actually today. But I'm going to do smaller swipes over these colors so they don't get too blurred in. You'll still see them, hopefully. That blue's getting a little bit too blurred out. I'm going to back that up with my backup button off to the left-hand side. And I'll try that again. So yeah, slowly the skein is going to disappear, and you'll get an idea of what you're actually going to be seeing without actually seeing it. And I thought this might be interesting for you to see how this was created, whether you're buying the yarn or you're a yarn dyer and you want to do the same type of thing. Go over some of those areas so the skein truly disappears. Every so often I'll catch an area that I still see the skein. There we go. So yeah, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what the skein is going to look like. This was not the actual image that I used for my Instagram post or what I put on my website, but I just recreated it so you could see how I came up with it. I hope this was interesting for you. Bye.